Hey, how's it going, guys? So this is part 2 of the core neutral cards review. Make sure you always answer the question in the description down below, because right now we're running a mega giveaway at the end of all the card reviews. We're going to be giving away a couple of prizes from a donation that we got from Nightlight. You can send love to him in the Discord. He sent to us a Tiat, a priest board, and a disciple board, which are all going to be given away at the end of this card review. So let's jump right in. So at 3 mana we have Viking Outrider, which is a 4/3 Viking. These cards typically run in Viking decks because it's a good stat line for what it does, and Vikings tend to be aggressive, so I'm gonna have to put this in the 3-star category because it's not great, it's not amazing, but it's run in a lot of decks. Then we have Bronze Servant, which removes 2 durability from your opponent's relic. It's a 3 mana 2/4. Right now it's not that great, so I'm gonna put it in the 3-star category, but it might become much more powerful in the future once, because for example the new expansion, the Trial of the Gods, you're gonna have the legendary relics and things like that, so these types of cards that remove durability can become much better. Then we have Dune Cavalry, so it's the opposite of Viking Outrider, another 3 mana 3/4, so it's instead of 4/3 3/4. I would argue that this is also a 3 stars. It's the kind of like basic cards are the basic stat lines for the game. Then we have Dwarf Atlant, where it deals 1 damage to an enemy creature for 3 mana 1/5. I think this is a terrible card. For me, it's definitely 2 stars. There's way better Atlanteans out there, and Atlanteans typically are very powerful, even though there's not a lot of them. Then we have Imperial Sentient Shard, where it creates a copy of this and adds it to the second card of your deck. I would argue that this card's a 2-star, because even though the effect's quite interesting and you can just keep recycling it, you're just dealing the cards. Well, it might be good if you're running a control type of deck and you wanna bring the opponent to fatigue, but that's not a healthy strategy to do. So I might as well just play other cards in this area. So definitely 2 stars as well. Then after this we have Eldritch Demonologist, which basically pulls the highest cost nether. So unless you're running super high cost nethers that cost 8 mana or 9 mana, I basically consider this a Demogorgon draw card. So might as well say here that it's a 4 mana 2/2 draw Demogorgon. So if you haven't gotten Demogorgon yet, this is a really good card to pull the Demogorgon from the deck. And if Demogorgon's an essential part of the deck for you to win, then this card needs to be there. So I'm gonna put this card in the 4-star category because it's a really good draw mechanic. It's a targeted draw, so really a specific targeted draw for a specific card. So it's really good. Then we have Tom Priest, which is an Anubian with Afterlife. Pull a random Anubian 3 or less into your hand, so it basically recycles one of your cards. And the stat line is fairly good. I would rather have this at 3 mana, but at 4 mana it's okay. So I'm gonna put this in the 3-star category. If Anubian decks become much more prevalent in the meta, then this card jumps up in terms of rating. But it's an okay card. Then we have Sing-Song Satyr, where it gives each other friendly creature +1 strength. This is basically it's a poor man's Fire Wand. So instead of giving 2 damage to everything, you're giving 1 strength to everything. But it's an okay card, so I'm also gonna put it this. 3 stars. Then we have Veteran Archer, 4 mana 2/3 that deals 2 damage either to 2 separate creatures or to the same creature twice. And this is definitely a 4-star card because it gives you a lot of flexibility. If you don't have a lot of early game removals, then Veteran Archer needs to be in your deck. Then we have Solemn Lecturer, which is put an enemy to sleep. I would argue that I'm gonna put this in the 4-star category because being able to stall, and specifically this combos very well with Demogorgon because creatures that are asleep take 3 damage. You do this the turns afterward and Demogorgon's still there. This is a really good combo. You might as well say 4 mana 2/4 deal 3 damage and the creature doesn't technically So it's pretty good, so it's definitely a 4-star. Then we have Pyrrhic Adolescence, where creatures damaged by this creature can burn +1, so this is the evolved version of the Pyrrhic Atlant. I would say that this is an okay card. It's 3 stars because it has a good stat line compared to the Atlant, so it's fairly good. Then we have Traveling Bard, which is a 4-star card, because it's essentially a 5/3. But it gives another random friendly creature, and if you put it where there's only one other creature on the board, it's gonna buff that creature. You can give it to a frontline or something that would benefit a lot from having a buff, so it's a really good card to have. So definitely 4 stars. Then we have Pharaoh's Guard with Afterlife, summon 2/1 Skeleton Guard. It's a really good card to have, even though it's super aggressive and it has low health. It's a really good card to have because even if they do a board clear, this is gonna leave something on the board for them to deal with afterwards. So I'm gonna put this in the 4-star category. Then we have Vener Lion, which gives a friendly creature +2 strength until the end of your turn. This stat line is terrible for just the until the end of your turn type of effect, so I'm gonna put this in the 2 stars. It's a really bad card, don't use it. Then we have Carthaginian Marine that deals 2 damage to an enemy creature. This is also another card that you can run on your deck if you don't have a lot of targeted removals. You can run this type of card. But I would argue that as time goes on and more expansions release, the gods are going to have access to different types of cards and typically different types of removals. So these types of cards are going to be less prevalent over time. So I'm going to put this in the 3-star category for now. Then we have a Highland Defender, which summons a 1/1 Uskal with Frontline. And it's an okay card. It's a 4-mana 5/3. It's not that great, so I'm still gonna put it in the 3-star category. It has a good stat line, but it's not great. Then after this we have Svart Basilisk, remove sleep and remove 1 durability. Well, if like everyone's running sleep type of cards in the meta, then this card becomes super good. But for the time being, I'm still gonna put it in the 3-star category. Then after this we have Town Guardian that gives a friendly creature +1/+1, so it's a targeted buff. Again, any type of targeted buff super appreciated because you can just basically buff whichever creature you want and be super effective with it. So I'm gonna have to put this card definitely in the 4-star category. Okay. Then after this we have Strix Hunter, which is kind of like the weak version of Orcish Elite. You could also combo this with an Onslaught to be able to make it an Orcish Elite, but it's a fairly good card because it allows you to trade against 2 or 3 creatures, which makes it a really good card for 4 mana. So I'm gonna have to put this in the 4-star category. Then we have Wetlands Ogre, which is basically the upgraded version of Dune Cavalry. It's the base stat line. I'm gonna put this at 3-star because it's the base stat line type of card. After this we have Theban Brawler, which basically is a really good card to be played in a lot of decks. Even though it has the same stat line as Pyramid Warden for 2 extra mana, it doesn't have the downside of summoning a creature from your opponent, where you can sometimes get really screwed by that. I would argue that this card is definitely a 4 stars and can be played in a lot of decks. Then after this we have Zaxian Cryptic Panther, where if any creatures in your hand have deadly, flank, frontline, so it's basically the same as the other card that we reviewed recently from War, that gains all of the buffs from the cards in the void. The difference with this is in the hand. So this only works if you have something that's like super huge. If you have an 8 or 9 mana card in your hand, they're typically gonna have a lot of effects, and this is gonna copy those effects, and only in that case this card becomes good. So I'm gonna have to put this in the 3 stars because most of the times the type of effects that you're going to be gaining are not going to be enough for the mana that you're spending. Then after this we have Penthesilian Warrior, where it gives each other friendly Amazon +2/+2. This is a 5 mana 6/3. If you have one extra Amazon, this is a 5 mana 8/5, which is already really good. If you have two Amazons, this just goes out of, it's completely bonkers. So this card definitely is a 4-star. If you imagine you have 3 other Amazons, you're gonna gain 6/6 worth of stats, and it makes this card a 12/9 for 5 mana. So it's absolutely bonkers. This card is definitely very powerful, and it's gonna be in a lot of Amazon types of decks. Then we have Catapult, which is basically an upgraded ballista. The ability is deal 3 damage. Right now, structures are not that good, but with Trial of the Gods, they might become viable because they're pushing towards a structure type of deck. So right now I'm gonna put this in the 3-star category because it has higher survivability than ballista with just 3 health. And with backline, they're only gonna use spells on this, and it might be good, it might be bad, but I'm still gonna put it in the 3 stars. Then after this we have Cursed Kaipora. Definitely a 5-star card, because for 5 mana you can typically trade against 2 big creatures for 5 mana, which is really good. So this is definitely a 5-star card. And unless they have things like Westwave or things like that, where it's basically a counter to Kaipora, this card's gonna be insanely good most of the times that you play it. After this we have Ardent Channeler, 5 mana for 3 with the Afterlife, deal 1 damage to each enemy creature. It's an okay type of board damage, but this card's fairly weak in my opinion, so I'm gonna put this in the 3-star category. It's okay. It's not good, it's not bad, it's okay. Then we have Feral Shapeshifter, where it deals 2 damage to an enemy creature and it has it in for a turn. I've seen this being played in a lot of Magic decks, so I'm gonna have to give this the thumbs up and put it in the 4-star category, because it's a fairly good starter card compared to other cards that deal that amount of damage. And for example, Ogre Watcher is a 5 mana 3/3 that deals 3 damage. What would you rather have? A Feral Shapeshifter or an Ogre Archer? I would argue that the Feral Shapeshifter is better, so I'm gonna put this Ogre Archer at 3 stars, because it's not that great, even though it deals 3 damage. For 5 mana, putting a 3/3 on the board, it's a pretty big tempo loss. So it's much better to put a 3/4. Oh, and that's it for this part of the card review of the core cards, the neutral cards. The next part we're gonna be reviewing the fun cards, the big mana creatures with a lot of effects and things like that. If you like this video, make sure you smash that like button down below, and don't forget, answer the question in the description, because there's also, on top of the normal giveaway, there's also a mega giveaway that's going to be happening at the end of the card review, where people are going to be winning three prizes. So anyways, see you guys next time. Packs out. Bye bye.